Okay, 1605, question 4. So we're going to make x the subject, and we've got this quadratic here, and I've decided I just put a couple of brackets down there because we know it divides up into two brackets. I haven't done quadratics with you folks, so I'll just show you how I think about this. Now, by the way, this will be the same thing in both brackets. We can see this is actually going to be a perfect square. So we put an x at the start of each. We know the signs are going to be the signs are going to be the same, and they're both going to be negative. So I'll put a negative and a negative, and I'll talk you through, if you don't know about how I know the signs are the same, they're both going to be the same, and they're both negative. I'll talk you through that a bit later on. In the meantime, though, we know that the numbers here have to multiply together to give 25 and add together to give 10. And the only two numbers that actually do that are going to be 5 and 5. You could, of course, work it out. You could go through all the numbers. You could say, well, we've got 1 times 25, and we've got 5 times 5. They are the factors of 25. Well, this one clearly can't add or subtract to 10, but this one can. Both, of course, can multiply to 25. But this is the only one that works for that context. So we've got, and I'll just write this out slightly differently. I'll write it with a square. Y equals negative 5 all squared. Now we want the value of x, so I'm going to write this a different way around. I'm going to write with x being the subject, x1 to 5 is equal to y. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the square root of both sides. So I'll write it out again so you can kind of see the process here. Find the square root of that side, the square root of that side. And of course, the square root and the square kind of cancel each other out. Now, of course, this is going to be plus or minus, because whenever we find the square root, it could be plus or minus what we find on the other side. And you'll see how this plays out a little bit later on in other examples, that is. So I've got x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of y. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Here we go, adding 5 to both sides. Of course, 5 and negative 5 leave me with x. So x is equal to 5 plus or minus root y, and there is my solution.